For coming, we'll start tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The board would like a motion to approve the agenda for January 16th, 2025 as presented. Commissioner Garner. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Next, we have special recognitions with Ms. Joles.
Thank you, Mr. Bertrand. Tonight, we are proud to announce the newest teacher to receive their National Board Certification, which is the highest credential in the teaching profession. National Board Certified teachers are highly accomplished educators who meet high and rigorous standards. Like board certified doctors and accountants, teachers who receive National Board Certification have met stringent standards through intensive study, expert evaluation, self-assessment, and peer review. The certification is a voluntary process through which teachers work to advance the quality of teaching and learning. The district now has 44 teachers who have achieved this distinction, and we would like to congratulate Kristen Johnson as our newest National Board Certified teacher. Kristen, if you want to come forward. Mrs. Johnson is an English teacher at Francis Howell North, and she has been teaching for 16 years and has dedicated her entire teaching career to serving the students at North. She was also recognized in 2022 as Francis Howell's District Teacher of the Year. So congratulations, Kristen Johnson. Next, and I'd like to invite Dr. Suzanne Leak to the podium to help us recognize some amazing teachers and coaches from Francis Howell Central. We have the honor tonight of introducing not one, but two MISHA Coaches of the Year, and also the only Music Educator of the Year award winner in the entire state of Missouri. Dr. Leak.
Good evening, President Bertrand and members of the Board of Education. The Missouri State High School Activities Association gives one Coach of the Year award in each sport for the state of Missouri each year. And this award is given in collaboration with the National Federation of State High School Association. The Coach of the Year award is the highest honor given to a coach in Missouri, and it is presented to a coach who has shown a lifelong commitment to coaching interscholastic sports. Mr. Brian Keim, our activities director, and I are proud to share this evening that Francis Howell Central High School is home to 2 of the 21 recipients across the entire state of Missouri for all sanctioned sports representing both boys and girls. Tonight, it is my privilege to celebrate an incredible coach, leader, and advocate for student athletes in our district, Coach Kurt Cruz. With a coaching career that began in 1995, Coach Cruz has made an immeasurable impact on countless students and on the Francis Howell School District. Coach Cruz, a proud graduate of the Francis Howell School District, has dedicated nearly 3 decades to coaching and inspiring students. At Francis Howell Central, his contributions have been nothing short of extraordinary. He has coached 11 seasons of football, 18 seasons of track and field, including 2 as a head coach, and 12 seasons of wrestling, 6 of which have been the head coach for the girls wrestling program. As the founding head coach of our girls wrestling at Francis Howell Central, Coach Cruz started the program 5 years ago with just 15 athletes. Thanks to his vision, dedication, and leadership, the program has grown into one of the largest and most dominant in the state of Missouri, boasting a roster of 39 athletes at Howell Central. The accomplishments of the girls wrestling program under Coach Cruz's leadership are remarkable. He has earned 4 GAC South Conference titles, numerous state qualifiers and state finishers. He was recognized as the Coach of the Year by the St. Louis Wrestling Officials Association. He led Francis Howell Central girls wrestling team to the 2024 Missouri Class II State Championship, and that was the first Francis Howell School District, St. Charles County, and St. Louis Area High School to win a girls wrestling state title. Beyond the accolades, Coach Cruz's impact is felt in the lives of his athletes. He has built a culture of excellence, resilience, and community within his program. He empowers his athletes not only to succeed on the mat, but to grow as individuals and leaders. As Coach Cruz embarks on his 85th high school sports season as a coach, we celebrate his dedication, passion, and commitment to our students and the district. His legacy will undoubtedly inspire future generations of student athletes and coaches alike. Please join me in congratulating Coach Cruz for his incredible accomplishments and contributions to our district.
Yeah, so I'm just going to step out to the side.
No, I have a stress rash.
No.
I know how to do windows. As tall as I am on this thing.
Mr. Brian Keim, I also have the privilege to recognize another outstanding coach, Coach Stephen Lee. Since the doors of Francis Howell Central opened in 1997, Coach Lee has been a vital part of our school community. Over the years, he has served as a teacher, a dedicated assistant coach, and for the past 7 years, the head coach of our boys volleyball program. Coach Lee's contributions to our district and the sport of volleyball are remarkable. Last year, in the inaugural season of boys volleyball as a MISHA-sanctioned sport, Coach Lee led the Spartans to an incredible state runner-up finish. Under his leadership, Francis Howell Central became the first school in Francis Howell School District and St. Charles County to advance to the Final Four during the first sanctioned season, a historic accomplishment that speaks to Coach Lee's vision and dedication. Coach Lee's legacy goes far beyond just last year. As an assistant coach, he helped guide the team to significant milestones, including winning a non-MISHA sanctioned state championship in 2012 and earning a second-place finish in 2010. His commitment to the program and his athletes have been unwavering from the very beginning. Over the years, Coach Lee has been a mentor, a role model, and a source of inspiration for countless students and athletes. His ability to instill teamwork, discipline, and drive for excellence in his players has not only built successful teams, but has also prepared these young men for success in life. We are incredibly proud of Coach Lee and grateful for his contributions to our district, our students, and our community. His leadership and dedication exemplify the very best of what it means to be part of Francis Howell Central. Please join me in celebrating Coach Stephen Lee's remarkable career and achievements.
Me too.
I promise I won't stand here all night long, but I have one more. So it's my great honor tonight to share a moment of celebration for one of our district's outstanding educators, Mr. Nathan Griffin. Mr. Nathan Griffin, Francis Howell Central's band director and instrumental music teacher, has been honored with the prestigious Win J. Harrell Award. He has been named Missouri's Music Educator of the Year for 2025, a recognition awarded to only one music educator in the entire state by the Missouri Music Educators Association, a truly remarkable achievement in the field of music education. What makes this recognition even more special is that Mr. Griffin is the first music educator in the history of the Francis Howell School District to receive this award. For 17 years, he has poured his passion, expertise, and dedication into our students, building not only exceptional musicians, but also confident, disciplined, and inspired individuals. This past October, our Spartan Regiment, led by Mr. Griffin, placed in the finals at the Band of America Memphis Regional, which included 24 of the best bands from around the nation. This year's marching band made school history, being a first-time finalist at a Bands of America event. In 2016, Mr. Griffin was named Francis Howell Central's Teacher of the Year, a testament to his exceptional abilities as an educator. The Spartan Regiment and our instrumental music program have flourished under his leadership and his commitment to high expectations, inclusive programming, and valuing the success of every individual student has set him apart as a role model within the profession. Mr. Griffin's influence extends far beyond the walls of our school. Thousands of students have benefited from his mentorship, and his contributions to the field of music education have left a lasting impact. His talent, vision, and unwavering dedication to excellence make him a most deserving recipient of this prestigious award. Prior to Christmas break, FHC hosted an alumni event, and 72 alums, dating back to the class of 2013, came to FHC to personally thank Mr. Griffin for his leadership and influence on their story. They played with our A band at a basketball game, and they shared their story with our current students. On behalf of all students, staff, and families of Francis Howell Central High School, we are profoundly proud of Mr. Griffin and grateful for the extraordinary legacy he continues to build. Please join me in congratulating him on this remarkable achievement.
And our student board representative this month is from Hollenbeck Middle School. And as you know, the purpose of the Student Board Rep program is to honor and recognize talented students, elevate student voice, and provide growth opportunities in the areas of public speaking, leadership, and governance. Students are selected for this honor by their principal with input from the student body. They have an opportunity to prepare and deliver a short speech to the board and the public focused on their school or the district. And tonight I'll invite Principal Dr. Dan Harmon to the podium to introduce our student board rep from Hollenbeck.
Good evening, President Bertrand, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Rumpus, members of the Executive Cabinet, and all community members and staff here this evening. As principal of Hollenbeck Middle, it is my pleasure to introduce our student representative, Anison DeHart. Anison is an 8th grade student who will attend Francis Howell Central next year and is a product of Fairmont Elementary. While at Hollenbeck, Anison has actively sought out ways to grow both academically and personally. She maintains a 3.8 grade point average, while serving as president of the National Junior Honor Society, a student ambassador, a member of Hollenbeck's student team of leadership, and an active participant in our theater program. Aniston is a strong communicator and has used her interpersonal skills to positively impact her 8th grade cohort and the larger Hollenbeck student community. She's been a staple part of our morning announcement team and has shined in various roles within our theater productions. When I asked for recommendations for students who accurately represent someone who's working to model our core values of being respectful, responsible, honest, and kind, Aniston was readily identified by multiple groups. Aniston was described as a hard worker who strives to be successful in all of her endeavors. She is excited by learning, and her positivity impacts the others around her. Aniston goes above and beyond for most any school activity and is known for her creative takes on spirit days. While her dedication to school helps her to shine academically, I was equally proud to hear about the example she sets of the core values that we hold ourselves to. Tonight, Aniston is here with her parents, Kevin and Jonna DeHart, and her 2 older sisters, Emerson DeHart, a recent graduate of Francis South Central in 2024, and her sister, Renna, who is currently a junior at FHC. The DeHarts were quick to point out that as the youngest of 3, Aniston has often filled the baby of the family shoes quite well with her mix of sass, wit, and her spirited personality. Mrs. DeHart shared that many who meet Aniston would be surprised to know that she was once terrified of strangers in any new settings. And while she may have started timidly, they never would have guessed she would be the most outgoing and fearless one in the family. Her personality was noted by the time she was 5 years old as an aspiring dancer, and that's only continued through her avid involvement with our Junior Spartans cheer team. Aniston displays a willingness to be involved in everything, readily putting herself out there. Mrs. DeHart specifically noted how much Aniston loves going to school, noting that snow days are a bummer for her, so the start to this January has been a really rough one for her. Aniston's family wants her to know how proud they are of her. For her compassion for others and the way she's developing her leadership capacity only makes them more proud as they watch her begin to soar. While certainly I could stand up here and brag about her, I'll end by restating that it is my pleasure to introduce and present Aniston DeHart.
Board of Education, family, faculty, and guests, my name is Aniston DeHart, and I am a student at Hollenbeck Middle School. Today, I want to share my middle school experience with everyone. It has been filled with good times, challenges, growth, and endless opportunities. Starting middle school, I was both excited and nervous. Hollenbeck was so much bigger than Fairmount and had new faces and pretty much knew everything. And ultimately, I was navigating a brand new life. It was overwhelming at first, but with all of the support of my wonderful teachers and peers, it quickly became easier. One of the most amazing experiences of middle school has been my friendships. After graduating 5th grade, most of my friends transferred to Sager, and I thought I would be alone, but wow, was I wrong. Now, whether I'm working on group projects, laughing at lunch, or just hanging out, I have made lasting friendships at Hollenbeck that will follow me wherever I go. Extracurricular activities have also played a big role in my middle school experience. By joining the Student Team of Leadership, National Junior Honor Society, while also becoming the president, the Junior Spartans cheer team, and auditioning for school musicals, or volunteering for Mobile Market, these activities have taught me how to balance my time between school, cheer, school clubs, acting, family, and friendships. I know high school will only bring added activities, but I'm also thankful that Hollenbeck has taught me how to effectively balance my time. Although it's bittersweet to leave Hollenbeck, I'm excited to start this new chapter in high school. I'm looking forward to new responsibilities and opportunities and having so many more choices with classes, activities, and voice. I may be small, but my voice is pretty big. I want to bring the positive voice to Francis Howell Central that I developed and effectively practiced at Hollenbeck. On a lighter note, I'm also looking forward to going to school with my dearest sister again. I know she's missed me as much as I've missed her. Now I want to take this time to thank Hollenbeck for giving me the confidence I now have. When I first entered through the doors of Hollenbeck, I lacked the confidence to speak in front of my peers or take parts in any group. Now I am full of confidence and ready to bring that with me to Central's classes, groups, and activities. On a final note, I want to take this opportunity to thank the Board of Education and my teachers at Hollenbeck for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of such an amazing group. Thank you.
Great job. We need some more people.
Yes, she does.
On behalf of the board, we just want to welcome you, and you are welcome to ask questions. If you have any questions, you can follow along on the tablet as well. And we're just really proud of you, and you serve as a representative of all students that reminds us why we're here in the first place. Thank you very much.
Raise this back up a little bit. For tonight's spotlight presentation, we are shining a light on the John Weldon Kindness Crew, and here tonight to lead the presentation is 4th grade National Board Certified Teacher, Miss Amy Johnson, and she, of course, has brought some students with her to participate in the presentation. So, Miss Johnson.
Good evening, President Bertrand, Board, and Executive Cabinet. My name is Dr. Jacqueline Vogel, and I'm very proud to present our John Weldon Kindness Crew to you this evening, led by two of our dedicated teachers, Miss Johnson and Mrs. Voss. They put together quite a presentation to share with you all the work they're doing at John Weldon to spread kindness.
Okay, welcome everybody. So sorry, took us a little bit to get ready, but I just want to thank Dr. Vogel first because she's been so supportive of the Kindness Group and all the clubs that I actually do. And my best friend, Dr. Voss, not Doctor, Denise Voss. So she does this with me, and it's just such the most amazing thing that hopefully one day you guys can come and actually see them put to work in the morning. So some of you might know that are in here that know me that I never want to retire. So this is why. This group right here, they're so amazing, so amazing. So we're going to go to the next slide. Good job, Denise. So our Kindness Crew is really kindergarten through 5th grade. They actually have to fill out applications, and they're chosen. They are the most wonderful kids. And our purpose really is to spread kindness throughout John Weldon and the community. We do a lot in the community. So these are just some of our activities that we do and some events. But enough of me talking because the kids are going to share some of our stuff. We're going to start with Esme.
Hi, my name is Esme. At John Weldon, we have a kindness garden. Last year, we painted kindness rocks to add to it. All of the rocks were colorful and had inspirational words on them.
Hi, my name is Jackson. One of my favorite events is Culver's Night. The Kindness Crew stands at the doors and welcomes people coming in. We hold signs and hand out kindness cards. The best part is teachers from John Weldon deliver the food and clean the tables. Each time we make about $800 to go towards our kindness fund.
Hi, my name is Henry. One of our secret missions was sneaking kindness cards in over 250 books in our school's library and classrooms. Our hope is that it will put a smile on someone's face when they are reading and they see one in their book.
Hi, my name is Kinsley. Last year, our secret mission was to spread kindness by secretly putting clothespins on backpacks of students walking into the school. It was so much fun sneaking around spreading kindness.
Hi, my name is Lexi. One of my favorite events is welcoming the students in the morning. I love to hear the music, the cars honking, and giving high fives, seeing kids dancing and smiling is a great way to start our day.
We're going to show you a video of one of our secret missions, which is the clothespin. We think it may, yep. For the little boy with the hood and the backpack, you'll see him looking back. He has a clothespin, so he's trying to be sneaky. And then he's so excited. He's like, I did it. And then Lexi just shared our most favorite thing that we do, and I think our parents love it too, is that we actually cheer in the morning. We play some loud music. I bought my husband one of those big stereos and then actually used it for myself. So we wheel that out there. We have some pom-poms and we hold these wonderful signs, and then we cheer everybody that we're doing. So it's so much fun. So this is a short video of that. You can't hear the music, but that is just a wonderful way. It's so fun for us to be out there too and just high five the kids, and some kids are dancing and they're smiling. It's just a great way to start our day. We haven't done it in this extreme cold weather, but we're hoping to get back to that in the spring. We have a couple of kids too that just want to share what they think.
Hi, my name is Liam. I like being at the Kindness Crew because I think I can make new friends. I love the Kindness Crew because we always spread cheer around the school.
Thank you for letting us share tonight.
And then our kids also do weekly announcements, and we always end our weekly announcements the same way. What do we say, guys? Be kind to one another from the Kindness Crew. So thank you guys so much for letting us share our wonderful program. But we do also have some kindness cards that we use for a lot of our events that they want to pass out to you before we're done.
Next, we have our public comments. During public comments, residents of the district and staff members are invited to address the Board of Education on issues related to the school district. Speakers are called forward in the order of sign-up, and each speaker has 3 minutes to make their remarks. Please remember that only one speaker is allowed at the podium at a time, and combining time or giving your time to someone else is not permitted. The board appreciates that you've taken the time to come this evening, and we value both your input and perspective. I would like to remind everyone that we expect the speakers will remain civil and respectful when giving remarks. If anyone fails to comply with board policies, regulations, and rules, we reserve the right to cut those 3 minutes short. We also ask that patrons in the audience remain quiet in order to be respectful to the speaker's allotted time. And we welcome Harry Harris to step forward.
Thank you. I apologize, as I wanted to be here last month to remind our district and our community about something that continues to bother me. December was the anniversary of our board majority attempting to eliminate the Black History and Lit classes. This was led by Director Cook, while other board members and patrons tried to get him to stop, but 5 members of the board were okay at the time with pulling them from the curriculum right at Christmas. It was a vividly anti-Black stance if I've ever seen one, and again, as I said before, it still bothers me. And it brings me to around 6 months before that, when the same board majority chose to do away with the anti-discrimination and racism resolution that had been passed before, despite an overwhelmingly majority of the public asking that not be. Maybe you start to see a pattern here. But it's at the end of that meeting that Director Ponder commandeered the mic and recounted a story about asking his young child if they thought there needed to be a piece of paper on a wall to stop racism. He then vowed to work with the community to single-handedly create a new resolution that would satisfy all. And despite myself, community leaders, parents, and educators reaching out and offering to help, we sit here a year and a half later with nothing done. At best, I've seen an email about really intending to do it, and that's it. When I've discussed this with my child, what we call it when somebody says they'll do something and they don't, they call that a lie. I bring this along because of these 2 instances. We've also seen board members going on third-rate radio shows and badgering trans kids and their families, and heard calls for the board to insert their politics into our district. And I want to make sure that parents and patrons understand the history and the embarrassment that we've been dealing with for years now. We would like to move this school district forward, but I have a difficult time seeing that happen when we still have these things going on. Our kids deserve better, and we need to do better, and I'm asking that y'all do better. Thank you.
Next, we welcome Sarah Olkey.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Sarah Olkey, and it is my privilege to stand before you as a candidate for the Francis Howell School District Board of Education. I'm deeply committed to our community, our families, and most importantly, our students. I've lived in this community for 23 years, and I know a lot about the history of this district, and I have a lot of my life invested here. Both of my children attended Warren Elementary School, Sager Middle, and then Central High School. And I'm choosing to serve because I'm an educator. I'm an expert in my field, and I'm totally committed to helping my community come together. It's common sense to have a current teacher on the board who can speak to real relevant 21st century educational concerns and strategic goals. This board needs to be a team of people who put together, practice people over politics, especially when it comes to our students. I believe that I can add value to that team, and I hope our community agrees with me on April 8th. I'm a member of the NEA, and I have been ever since I became a teacher. I was raised in a military, blue-collar union family, and my father served our country for 8 years. My grandparents were UAW members and teachers. I get it. I'm running for the Board of Education because of my qualifications and my deep-rooted passion for education. I'm not talking about the education system of the 1950s. I'm here to support the education system of the future. I believe in public education, and every student has not only the potential to be successful, but it is our honor, our privilege, and our duty to protect their pathways as they grow. I have 10 years of teaching experience in the classroom and a master's degree in educational psychology. I have worked with over 700 students and their families in my teaching community, and I have a ton of real educational experience to bring to the table. Francis Howell School District is a huge part of my family. My children are amazing people, thanks to everyone from parents as teachers to their high school teachers, and all the librarians and nurses and guidance counselors and bus drivers and custodians and administrators in between. Every single one of them is a teacher, and they deserve respect, fairness, and the peace of mind to be able to trust that when decisions are made, they're made with the utmost care and consideration. I'm here to offer my very best to the Francis Howell community, and I hope you will help me Unlock the future on April 8th. Thank you.
Up next, we welcome Grayson Justice.
Good evening, my name is Grayson Justice, pronouns he and she, and I'm an alumni of Francis Howell of class of 2013. From transgenders, immigration, and now special needs students, Jane Pushkar posted on her Facebook board member page stated one example was spending $500 million to educate 6 autistic students, but I digress. Not only that, but she was on a conservative radio show with an anti-transgender host who makes fun and constantly misgendering and dead-naming a trans athlete. He asked if there's any trans athletes in our district. Why? So you can force them to quit? Give up, Jane Pushkar. Your policy will never pass. And if you continue this path of bringing up your anti-trans policy at every meeting, then I request a resignation to Ms. Jane Pushkar for not caring for the communities of Francis Howell and constantly bullying and blocking people on her socials and not focusing on the real issues in Francis Howell. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we welcome Anita Keener. Oh wait, no, up next we welcome Ron Pushkar. Sorry, got my names mixed up.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Rampas, staff. Firstly, I believe in and applaud the dedication and professional skills of the vast majority of Francis Howell teachers, administrative leadership, and support staff. I am appalled and disillusioned by the hateful speech and dishonesty of a few teachers, some current students, alumni, and a past FHEA officer. These patrons made repeated disparaging and defamatory accusations and lies about board directors. I am very disappointed in the president for not enforcing his own patron comment regulation that comments are to be civil and respectful. He has shamefully ignored his own policy multiple times, even when a point of order was requested by a board member. I'm particularly disappointed in some school building administrators who choose not to enforce the current Francis Howell bathroom locker room policy based on existing room signage. And I'm greatly disturbed by reports from parents whose students are threatened and bullied by certain building principals not to say anything against students who violate the current locker room policy. Policy 2116 was drafted by the current Vice President of the Board in 2023, introduced for first reading by another board member in 2023, and revised by input from the Francis Howell Policy Committee in 2024. The policy does not discriminate against any student's personal or medical need to use a single room alternative. Regarding teacher, student, and alumni patron comments, one board member has been wrongfully accused harassing and bullying a group of humans because she disagrees with any male student who demands to use a designated girls' restroom, a practice that ignores culture and practice of our society, as well as federal law. One board member has wrongfully been accused of shaming students when she exercises her freedom of speech to point out to the public that current members of the Francis Howell School Board refuse to address the lack of school administration's enforcement of current bathroom and locker room policies. A current Francis Howell teacher has publicly threatened to sue the district if they prohibit her daughter from using a boys' restroom. This type of threat from a teacher is dangerous on many levels within the Francis Howell school system. Current federal law allows for the segregation of biological sex in public bathrooms and locker rooms. The Francis Howell School Board needs to stand up to the deplorable bullying by these few patrons, teachers, and students. Don't allow hate speech to deter your sense of standing up to what is right and your obligation to do your civic duty. Vote for Policy 2116 now.
Up next, we welcome Anita Keener. Anita? All right, moving on. Next, we welcome Sam Young.
Good evening, board, staff, and patrons. I wanted to come tonight and defend board member and treasurer Jane Puskar from the many ridiculous attacks that seem to have become a regular occurrence during patron comments. Most of the commentators come with unprepared marks or sometimes prepared marks, but they all sound unhinged with their vitriol towards a fellow human being. The comments are over the top, especially when you step back and realize that none of the speakers have anything constructive to say that would actually improve the district for our students. Instead, they flagrantly ignore the request to keep comments civil and respectful. Their entire purpose seems to be to try and drive Treasurer Puskar from the board. 2 months ago, a parent who had never attended a board meeting before commented to me how surprised and horrified they were to see all the negativity on display. Whatever happened to the peaceful and boring board meetings that we were promised after the last board election? Treasurer Puskar brings great experience and knowledge to the board. As a former nurse with an accounting degree and an MBA, many people don't like that she comes prepared to meetings and asks pertinent questions, but the need for that was laid bare for all to see with the recent Missouri auditor results for the district. Turns out that the public was repeatedly misled by school and board officials on the cost of the new high school. The bid process for selecting the project management firm and the architects was corrupted by cronyism and favoritism. I went back and watched the June 2020 board meeting where the cronyism in the bid selection process was on open display. One of the most caustic attackers of Treasurer Puskar, who didn't show up tonight, was present at that meeting, and others who supported the re-election of one of the implicated board members. The board members that they helped put into place have hurt the district with their gross mismanagement of Prop S funds. It led to the over a year delay in Prop S projects moving forward, and it's led to many projects that were initially promised to the public that will probably not be done with those funds. Jane, thank you for all the time and effort you bring to the board. I don't deny the First Amendment rights during patron comments that allow criticism, even severe criticism, of elected officials. Jane, I pray that you will continue standing with strength and calmness in the face of such attacks. I would like to thank the current conservative school board majority, especially Randy Cook, for pushing for that Missouri State Auditor. That outside audit was needed, and it was not announced until after the Francis Howell families endorsed candidates got a majority in April 2023, as the old school board was not interested in asking for an outside audit. The current conservative school board now includes 2 civil engineers, small business owner, actually 2 small business owners, 2 MBA
Thank
holders.
you. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Next, welcome Amy Grider.
Thank the kindness crew for passing these out. These could not be any cuter. Hi, everybody. I just want to take a moment to share my appreciation actually on a couple of things that I've seen from the board in the last couple of months. I know, shocking. First, I'm glad we took the initiative to conduct an internal audit, as Sam just mentioned, and appreciate that we're taking steps to address the findings. I think transparency is obviously key to building trust. And getting outside analysis and perspective is helpful to ensure we aren't blinded by the natural acclimation to our practices that occur over time. Second, I appreciate that the Director of Safety and Security position up for approval later in the session followed a process where we leveraged expert recommendations as a part of the Safe School Assessment, and admin now brings a vetted recommendation to the board. Maintaining the physical security of this large district is clearly a substantial and critical responsibility. So if the budget can be allocated, I would urge the board to approve the new role and help us centralize our safety and security protocols and evolving needs. I also want to shout out Dr. Rumpus for the difficult communications surrounding the inclement weather days. This last week, the videos and pictures, especially I think shared on socials of the various road conditions across the district, really helped parents who may not have seen the rough roads and things understand why those decisions were made. So thank you for taking the time to do that. I'd love to see another discussion on how we can make those AMI days more effective, and also recognize how important it is for the district to fund one-to-one technology to help those days be more effective in the future. And lastly, a huge thanks to our maintenance teams, our bus drivers, our teachers, and everyone who had a role in getting our schools prepared for students to return. I know these days out of school put extra pressure on our teachers to adjust their lesson plans and try to stay on track. Also, a shout out to our non-salaried staff, paras and the like, who probably felt a lot of hardship from unplanned, non-paid days. So thanks for hanging in there too. And just want to say at every turn, I think, I see the dedication you give the kids and the care you give the kids. And I know thank you isn't enough, but it's what I can offer today. So thank you.
Next, we welcome Liz Poyster.
I love the phonetic thing on the form now, because otherwise no one gets the name right. Hi board, hi cabinet, hi all y'all here, and hi all y'all there. I would like to echo what Amy just said about expressing gratitude for all of the incredible teams that helped us get kids back in school. It was a long week, we all know that, but Snowmageddon 2025 came in with a bang, and it was nice to know that our district was prepared. Also, I want to acknowledge all of the teachers' hard work during those AMI days. I'm married to a teacher in a different district who also had AMI, and he was more attached to his computer than I think I've ever seen him before in my life, except those days of COVID 2020. I am just very appreciative of all the work that they did. Speaking of teachers, I grew up in a family of educators. My grandmother was an educator. My father, I married an educator. And I've seen firsthand how passionate and dedicated they are to their jobs, their schools, and of course their students. But here's my thing. When this board denies them the resources, questions their expertise, and badmouths them on the radio or on social media, we all lose. Students lose, teachers lose, and the community loses. Teachers really have no agenda other than wanting the well-being and success of our kids, and maybe for them to bring a pencil to class. When we support and celebrate our teachers, we attract and retain the best educators possible. It truly is that easy. I want to talk a little bit about the NEA, the National Education Association, of which the FHEA is an affiliate of. And I want to remind everyone watching what this group is about. I pulled the vision and the value statements of off of NEA's website. And I just want to read a few of them to see if we can reflect on if these are the values we'd like to see in our district. A great public school is for every student. Advocating for education professionals and uniting to fulfill the promise of public education to prepare every student to succeed in a diverse and interdependent world. Public education is the gateway to opportunity. All students have the human and civil right to a quality public education that develops their potential, independence, and character. Public education is vital to building respect for the worth, dignity, and equality of every individual in our diverse society. The expertise and judgment of education professionals are critical to student success. Education professionals maintain the highest professional standards and expect the status, compensation, and respect due to all professionals. Individuals are strengthened when they work together for the common good. Every student in America, regardless of family income or place of residence, deserves a quality education. Now, these values, I believe, are at the heart of our education professionals at every level. Nothing here is scary or disagreeable, and nowhere in these words in our schools will you find evidence of nefarious motivations.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Up next, we welcome John Highbrider. John Highbrider.
Oh, good evening. Appreciate your giving me the time to speak. I spoke about 18 months ago to the board and sent a letter out to the board, the two representatives of the teachers union, and also select admin folks. I've received little response from that, and have kind of been pondering over the last 18 months many of these things happening. I'm probably going to abandon what I have written after hearing the comments from the folks, I think the 8 folks ahead of me tonight. It's been varied. And I walk up here and say to myself, do we have Mission Impossible in front of us? Because what I wanted to offer was some thought of unity. In one of my letters, I addressed that we didn't have a cohesive mission statement in this district and suggested that would be a good idea. The teachers, the union, the board, the staff, administration, parents, citizens at large. I see there's no reason we shouldn't have a unifying mission statement. Because in theory, I assume we all have the same mission relative to taking those children that we were blessed with from our Creator and optimizing what they can do here as they spend time on the face of the earth. So I would like to think that regardless of what these folks have that differs, and there's been a lot of disparaging remarks I've heard in the half a dozen or so board meetings I've attended, I say to myself, is that what's in the soul of the average person? And I would like to say, I don't think so. So what I was going to offer is to the school district to create and implement a unifying mission statement for all the folks in this district. Now, again, maybe that is Mission Impossible, but I have to really thank Jane, Randy, the board. A couple of you reached out to me and talked to me. Talked with Stephen a time or two. I think what you're doing is fantastic, and if I was a younger person, I might step in and try to help. So I'm not going to be on the board. I don't want to be on the board. I've worked with dozens of school boards over the last 40 plus years. You have no easy task. And I like to say that most folks...
Thank you. Your time is up.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Next, we welcome Raquel Babb.
Good evening, everyone. I'm a teacher in the district and the proud mom of 2 graduates from Francis Howell Central who are leveraging their education here to do great things in the world. Our students don't deserve average. Tonight you're going to hear staffing plans that are going to talk about averages and ranges, and averages that are being presented are frankly misinformation. I don't know where DESE gets their numbers from when they decide what's a good size of a class. I don't know if that's based on educational research or if that's based on, in the state of Missouri, what school districts can afford to put in their buildings. But it definitely isn't what the numbers you're going to see aren't what the reality is. My first year, when I was FHEA First Vice President, in negotiations, we had to cut 60 staff members. And our organization agreed to be frozen for a year to save 20 of those. Those 40 positions haven't really ever come back. We've added some staffing in that time, but those positions are really not back. Let me just say, our middle school principals are amazing. They are doing everything they can with the status quo staffing that they continue to be given. So it is not a condemnation on them. But I just want you to know there are history teachers in 8th grade sitting in a room with 29 kids an hour, 6 hours a day. That means they see 174 students in one day. And there is nowhere to transfer a kid. Every class is full. We don't offer resource classes at that grade. For 8th grade's history, we don't offer CT teachers. So they are alone with 29 students of all ranging abilities all day long. Meanwhile, their ELA cohorts in the same building only have 143 students a day because there are resource classes, and they may have CT teachers with them in some of those classes as well. That's 31 extra students that teacher has to grade and conference with and manage. It's too much. I have an ELA colleague in another building who has 160 students that she sees every day. We're a workshop model. We're supposed to conference with students. A conference takes about 3 minutes. She has 160 students. She can't possibly conference with each of those kids throughout the day. I have 130, and I have a hard time getting it done. that she has 30 more students that she manages than I do. We have PE teachers with 30 to 33 students in their classes. That might seem manageable in a gym, but in a health class, 33 students, when those kids may struggle with reading, with focus, with all of that stuff, and let's just not even talk about the behaviors that are possible when you have 4 teachers in PE who have 30 kids apiece in a gym. It's insane. Science and social studies classes don't have co-taught teachers in every building.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Up next, we welcome Amy G.
Hello, my name's Amy. It's sad to hear things with that last speaker, but yeah, today I just wanted to bring up something that I found out that I was like astonishing and the irony of it all. But Mary Jane Pushkar, that's actually your legal name. So that's what I'm going to call you from now on, is Mary Jane. And I think that that's actually a cool name. I actually don't have a problem with that. But as a professional, I would understand where maybe, you know, you might not like that and you'd like to go by Jane. But I'm going to call you Mary Jane, because that may be how some of the students feel when they don't like to be called what they're being called. So if they want to identify as another gender, who's to say that they can have a different name? This is a small little thing that you could do to build behavior momentum and be more accepting of other people. But if you can't recognize that feeling in yourself, and you're not going to recognize that feeling in others.
Point of order. Point of order.
Objection, your judge. You're not in Kirkwood yet. Can I still be talking? Can we pause the clock? Let's put 2 minutes back on the
We can pause the clock.
Thank you, Ref. Why did I get cut off? Thank you, Ref. Okay. All right. So we got
continue.
minutes back on the clock. All right. Thank you. Okay. And I just think kids should have free will, and I think we're finding that out through psychology. Once we give them a little bit more say in what their lives are, you have a lot less counter control, is what you call it. And you'll see a lot of outbursts, and you might see them have a dangerous lifestyle, like maybe going to live in Texas and working somewhere that maybe your parents don't approve, but I still think it would be fun to go work there. But anyways, so free will, I think we should really emphasize that with having students be able to pick their name. That reduces suicide rates. How can you not argue? Like, it's peer-reviewed research. Are we just going to ignore that? This is a safe spot. If parents don't want to call their kids that, school is a safe spot that they can be called that. I knew somebody that had a name after a drug as their first name. Very similar to you, Mary Jane. And you know what the teachers did in Francis Howell? And I'm not going to say the name because that's too specific. They went ahead and they called her by a different name. And I think that's amazing. Anyways, okay. So the audit results that they were talking about earlier, I talked to my husband about that, who's in a union, and he says that that's because prices were skyrocketed for everything, getting things imported. So to blame that on relationships and all this political stuff and turning away from what some real issues are of human, like decency, I don't think we need to focus on that. And a lot of times when you're looking at budgets, you don't look at a lot of other things. So I don't know. I know that other guy was saying that it's great to be good at numbers, but if you're not a good human being, then I just don't know. Empowering students to be lifelong learners prepared for the future. That is the mission statement. Somebody said that there wasn't one. I love that. Let's roll with it. When are we going to start? Anyways, I'll see you later, Mary Jane.
Up next, we welcome FHEA.
Good evening. My name is Francine Hill, and I am the president of FHEA. We are very glad to be back face-to-face with our students. It was great to see all their happy faces. FHEA wants to thank all our staff that worked tirelessly to make our return possible. We appreciate your hard work each and every day, but especially we're grateful for your dedication in these difficult times. We also want to thank our parents and guardians for all their work on our AMI days. We couldn't do these days without teamwork from all of you. We hope your kids took time to enjoy the snow and the extended time away from school. FHEA is hopeful that the work done at Francis Howell North over the break has resolved the toxic odor issue so students and staff can enjoy this beautiful new building. We wish everyone a successful second semester and a great Francis Howell experience. Thank you.
Next, we'll welcome FISPA.
Thank you, Board and President Bertrand. My name is Heidi Nixon, and I am the FISPA Vice President for Technicians. We hope that the additional paid days off between Christmas and New Year's Day provided a much-needed opportunity for relaxation for our employee groups. This was, without question, the most significant improvement from our recent round of negotiations. We would like to extend our sincere gratitude to our maintenance, grounds, and custodial teams for their exceptional efforts during Winter Storm Blair. These teams dedicated hundreds of hours working in freezing temperatures to clear sidewalks and parking lots in preparation for return to school. Although adverse road conditions across the district ultimately prevented staff and students from returning to school, our crews continued to work diligently to maintain the safety and accessibility of our campuses. We also want to thank our administrative assistants across the district who played a crucial role in ensuring timely and clear communication with students, parents, and staff regarding the weather-related expectations. A special thank you to Dr. Rumpus and other members of the leadership team who personally assessed road conditions and made the difficult but necessary decision to cancel school last week. The safety of our students remains our top priority. Finally, we are pleased to inform you that the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, addressing the increase in nurses' workdays has been ratified by the FISPA membership. Thank you.
Next, Board, I'd like a motion to approve the consent agenda for January 16th, 2025 as presented. Cook. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Or like a motion to approve the Teamsters Local Union number 610 Memorandum of Understanding to create a referral stipend as presented. So moved. Cook first, Pushkar second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Board would like a motion to approve the FISPA Memorandum of Understanding to update the number of work days for nurses as presented. Second. Pushkar, Cook. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it. And we'll take a quick break to sign the Memorandum of Understanding. Aspire Construction Services to provide labor and materials, and Heartland Seating to provide seating for auditorium improvements at Francis L. High and Francis L. Central for a total cost of $6,046,958 as presented. You have a first or a second?
Motion. Who was the first?
Jane. Mark. Mr. Stutzer.
Thank you. Good evening, Board. Before I get into the recommendation, I do want to just take a quick minute to really recognize our partners, Howell and Miller. Obviously, the Board approved them coming on as our design firm in really June. And they've just really done a phenomenal job of working with us on the list that the Board approved from the March Board work session. And we've been diligent in bringing recommendations forward to you, and pleased to say that the way we're tracking with the overall bond program, we may have a little bit of money at the end to address a few additional projects. So really, thank you. So this evening, this song? Thank you. So before you this evening is the recommendation for the auditorium improvements at Francis Howell High and Francis Howell Central. And just as we have in the past, this slide is a refresher of the journey that we've taken to get to the point that we're making this recommendation. We opened the bids for this just right before the holidays and are here this evening to make that recommendation. Reminder of the existing conditions at really both of the auditoriums. Estimates that we provided to the Board along this journey. And then these are the final Board approved designs. This one specific to Francis Howell Central. Went a little too fast. This one's Francis Howell High. And then I will turn it over to the Howell and Miller team to present the bid tabulations that we opened on the December 17th. Ms. Barnes.
Good evening. We're excited to share that we received 2 bids on December 17th for the combined auditorium projects at Francis Howell High and Central. We did request that bidders submit both individual bids per school as well as combo bids, hoping to get some value from pairing those together. And then we'll also share here just in a second, we also had some alternates that we'd shared at the last board meeting to give us some different options to get that full scope covered. On bid day, we did have 2 bidders, with this being theatrical auditorium work, a little bit more specialized scope. You'll see we had a few more bidders on the wrestling, but we did have 2 to get competitive bids here from both AI Eilers and Aspire Construction. As you'll see there, we've got highlighted who are recommending. The combo bids, you'll see here on just the base bid, there is a difference there versus when we add in the alternates there of who the apparent low was. We also accepted bids later that week, or not bids, excuse me, co-op pricing requests, proposals from 2 different companies for the auditorium seating itself to help reduce some of that overhead costs versus going through the general contractor, and are recommending there from Heartland with the lower cost there, and that was the product that we initially recommended versus the other vendor that proposed a substitution there. And then finally, as we shared at the November board meeting, we had 5 alternates for Francis Howell High, including those exterior structural repairs that were a high recommendation from a future continuing to deteriorate, future potential safety concern, and then some of those other aging conditions and accessibility and safety challenges backstage. And then we had 3 alternates at Francis Howell High Central, Francis Howell Central that we shared there in November for those upgrades. And then finally, I know it's a little small here, but as you can see with the final recommendation that Mr. Stutzer will share, we have compiled the base bid, the combo base bid, and all of the alternates to come up with that total cost there.
So with that, Board, this evening, our recommendation is to approve Aspire Construction Services for the base bid combo plus the alternates, and Heartland Seating for the seats in connection with the auditorium improvements at Francis Howell High and Central for a total hard cost of $6,046,958. The total project cost, including bonding fees and soft costs, is $6,841,997. The team would be happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Questions, board?
As you probably know, we received an email asking, from a certain vendor, asking why we would not recommend their bid versus the other bid. Would you care to address that?
Yeah, the vendor that emailed,
I need to put you on the spot.
well, that's okay. I have to be careful in terms of,
Okay.
we might potentially need to recess to go to closed session to share some of
Okay.
that.
Well,
But
okay, let's leave it at that then.
okay.
That's good enough.
All right.
Okay, I don't want to cause any trouble. It's always, what's the word I want to use? As a board member, you get these emails and you wonder, well, should we do something or should we not do something?
And I would just say that the overarching response is that we comply with board policy and with Missouri statute, and therefore the appropriate vendor bid has been recommended.
My apologies, so I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that.
Well, I would like to follow just on a few things that caught my attention there. There was I guess I'll just ask, were both bids complete by the letter of the bid? Were they each missing a little something, or were they both fully complete?
Yes.
Absolutely. So typically what we'll do is when we had the conversation about potentially accepting all the alternates, we did de-scope the apparent low bidder that we're recommending tonight and confirm that they had the full scope covered. And since they were not only both the low bidder in terms of cost, one thing I didn't mention on the bid tab, and that was another major consideration, was we had issued a substantial completion date to have the auditoriums complete by September to be ready for fall productions, and the lowest recommended bidder said they could meet that duration. The other bidder did not and asked for an extension, a later date. So that was a big driver on the recommendation as well, and we do feel like the lowest responsible bidder, as recommended, has the full scope covered.
So Luke, can you go back a couple of slides to the really small print one that I can go see? Just went a little fast.
This one?
Yeah.
Is there something specific you're?
Something that I thought something caught my eye, but
While you're looking, do we have the provision in the bid where we can waive certain bid technicalities?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions, board?
All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Board would like a motion to approve Aspire Construction Service to provide labor and materials for the construction of the wrestling and multipurpose addition at Francis Hill High School for a total cost of $2,595,000 as presented. Director Ponder. Mr. Stetzer.
Thank you, Jane. Once again, before you for considerations, a recommendation for the wrestling multipurpose storm shelter, wrestling and multipurpose storm shelter at Francis Howell High. Again, timeline, it's a journey that we took. We opened this bid as well on the same day as the auditoriums on the 17th of December, and we're here before you with the recommendation to award a construction contract. You can see that the completion of really both projects are slated for fall 2025. Existing conditions, again, auxiliary gym practice space, lack of storage for mats, and lack of indoor space to support other programs. We had shared all of those existing conditions in subsequent presentations. The journey from a cost estimate standpoint, And just as a reminder, the first estimate there was without any kind of architect engagement, and also really end user building level engagement. Those were just square foot numbers, and then as we developed construction documents with architects as well as end user engagement, we have those other numbers that we have shared with you along the journey. Final designs that the board approved. And then here's the bid tabulation that Howell Miller will present.
Thank you, Mr. Stutzer. So I get the pleasure to tell you guys about this one. So a little bit different here, a little bit simpler type of construction that we have here. So you'll notice that we have 6 bidders for this scope of work. We range from about 2.5 million to about 3.2. So really good turnout, really tight bids. We like to see that. That means the drawings are complete and the bidders are looking at similar things, getting similar feedback from their subcontractors. And so with this one, very simple, just a base bid, no alternates, nothing like that for consideration here. But this is the ICC 500 storm structure that we had always talked about. And bids came in really well for us on this one. We were very pleased to see that. And those are the results tonight. And we are here to recommend Aspire Construction Services as the contractor for this project as well.
So once again, board, the recommendation this evening is to recommend Aspire Construction Services to provide labor and materials for the construction of the wrestling and multi-purpose storm shelter facility at Francis Howell High for a total cost of $2,595,000. Total project cost, including bonding fees and soft costs, is $3,107,953.
Can you tell me what kind of, I'll say, quality control we have during construction? You guys, how often you are there? Do we hire do we have the contractor hire a third party for testing, inspection, things like that?
Yeah. So we will have on-site meetings every 2 weeks with our contractor, which is kind of what we're doing now for the baseball field that we're doing. So we will have those on-site meetings every 2 weeks where we walk the site, we talk to the contractor, we go over schedules, RFIs, questions, those kind of things. We will also be hiring for this type of structure and all of our built structures. We will have special inspection crews that will also come out. So the city's going to be out to look at it for compliance with the drawings at a regular basis. We will have special inspectors that come out for this type of structure, being that it is an ICC 500 shelter. There are welded connections. There are very specific ways that this building has to go together. So a special inspector that is a true third party that is hired by the school district will come out and inspect those welds, the panels, the structural steels, how everything goes together, along with our eyes as well. So there's multiple layers of inspections and things like that that go on throughout construction from beginning to end.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Also just commend you on the bids. They're very tight, so relatively, it tells me there's good drawings there, so
thank you.
Well done. Additional questions, board?
Yeah. So the total project cost is $3.1 million, and on 11/21, the design development was 3.89. Can you explain where the difference occurred and why the number for today is less than it was in November?
Yeah. I think with conversations with you guys, I do think that we simplified the construction a little bit. We were very conscious of the budget all along, but I think the biggest driver is that we had 6 bidders on this. So when you have multiple bidders like that, it does tend to drive down the cost. So when we saw that there were 6 bids on bid day, we were super excited, because it is always a good thing when people are excited about it, they're hungry, those prices tend to come down a little bit. So I think that's how we got a lot of our very competitive bids. Yeah.
I think also, just to add to that, as you look at the, pending the board's approval, as we start looking at the schedule, at least what we had put in the construction documents, most of this project specifically is going to take place outside of peak construction time, right? But this work will start almost immediately pending board approval, and we have to work with the county to get the appropriate permits. And but we're not operating in that April, June, July, where in school business you almost have 73 days during that time, which a lot of companies will build in overtime to be able to meet that deadline, because school's going to happen one way or another. And some of these facilities need to be completed before then. But this one, obviously, we've got some time. We can start now. It's a standalone, meaning we're not impeding any of the instructional process that's taken place inside school. So all of those factors really help drove that number down.
Any hurdles with regard to permitting that you guys can think of, considering the nature of the building?
No, really with all the projects that we've brought to you this evening, we don't foresee any permitting issues. We've already been in contact with the county as part of permit review, so anything that would have potentially been a sticking point, we've addressed through that permit review as part of the construction document.
They're not going to, in the future, make up some weird permit that you didn't know about?
Well, you never know, but we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Any additional questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Board would like a motion to approve the Dakin, thank you very much. Board would like a motion to approve the Dakin TMI through the utilization of the local purchasing system job order contract 200303 to provide labor and materials to perform the demolition and installation of mechanical equipment at Bryan Middle School, Francetown Middle, Harvest Ridge Elementary, Independence Elementary, and John Weldon Elementary for a total cost of $2,565,242 as presented.
So moved.
Director Ponder. No presentation. Any questions? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Board, I'd like a motion to approve E-rate Category 2 projects for technology as presented.
So moved.
Any questions, board? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Board, I'd like a motion to approve the vacation station and preschool tuition rates for 2025-2026 as presented. Director Ponder. Questions, board?
I was just you're probably gonna ask the same question about why so much of an increase in the rates. Can that be explained easily?
Within the memo, we have provided for you the net operation, and I'm sure you had an opportunity to review that. I would say to you that with preschool, we don't have, well, with both of them, we don't have control over the enrollments, and we are making an estimate a year in advance or a partial year in advance of when that occurs. With preschool, we've continued to see a gap over the years in terms of it being a financially sustainable program, and we recognize that this is a wonderful program and we have wonderful teachers and other staff supporting it, but we are not in a position to where we can make changes based on the current construct relative to staffing costs and that kind of thing. So it's primarily staffing costs that continue to drive that up for the preschool piece. On the vacation station side, I would offer that potentially we could have increased the rates at a more normal level or threshold each year. The past few years, I noted within the memo that we had grants that the staff within the program so wonderfully applied for and received, and that helped sustain that program and keeping costs down. And now we find ourselves in a situation where we won't have that ability to capitalize on those special grant funding levels, and again, increasing staffing costs. I will say also that Dr. Garland and the team members that work on the programming, they're really looking closely at what adjustments might they make where they're still providing a wonderful program for kids and a wonderful experience, but cutting down those costs to try to keep the tuition rate flatter as we move forward.
Right, as you know, we've received some emails, I guess, questioning why such an increase now. And I guess what I'm hearing you say is that in the past we've kind of been behind as far as what we charged, and now we're kind of catching up as opposed to being continually behind and maybe putting the program in jeopardy. So
right, that is an accurate.
I'd also give credit to Ms. Embry and to the team for the way that we're building our budget and monitoring our finances. So when you look at tuition-based programs together, there are some years where one might run a deficit, another has a surplus, and they even out. And over the last year, she's demonstrated, as we've really looked at our expenditures and our revenues line by line to see where we're successful and where we can improve. It's drawn attention to some of these programs running an ongoing deficit. We don't seek to make profit off these programs, but we're also not in a situation to subsidize them at a great level. So really, as the memo indicates, this is about breaking even with these programs.
And I'll add that we don't charge rent back to the program. We're not charging utilities and that type of thing because these buildings are already provided by our patrons. And I do want to thank, though, Dr. Will Vanderpool and Dr. Chris Garland and their teams for working with Ms. Julie Walsh and myself and bringing this recommendation forward.
Thank you.
Also just note that someone who has been through many daycares and preschool programs, well, not many, but more than one.
You have?
Well,
Yeah.
me, my children. And the one at Meadows where my kids went was fantastic. One thing if I was on the Board of Education, this would not have occurred to me until I got here, but the people in our early childhood centers are certified teachers, and that is probably the biggest difference between Francis Howell early childhood centers, preschool, if you will, and many of the other ones.
So was that a factor in the price difference between Fort Zumwalt and Francis Howell? They don't have certified teachers? Or?
I can't speak to the other programs, how they're structured. There are some different staffing levels that we would have, but definitely, to your point, the largest gap would be the certificated teachers and that they're on the teacher salary schedule.
I was just shocked that theirs was half the cost, about half the cost.
There are a lot of factors that contribute to that, and we'd have to go through every line item to really come away with clarity.
I just worry that it'll shut people out. That's what bothers me.
It could be that I don't know, but the Fort Zumwalt board could very well subsidize it. I know for a fact that Orchard Farm subsidizes their preschool. I was present at their meeting last month, and they talked about that. I was kind of surprised to hear it, but subsidizing that opens a lot of questions.
Well, they may feel they get a benefit.
Orchard, yeah, that's exactly their point. They feel that it's a benefit for the rest of their student population.
Another factor is the number of sites other districts might have. We're running 3 programs, which you think about the administrative costs, both the school administrators, the office staff, to run 3 programs.
Do we offer any scholarships, or is there a way we can maybe look into starting something like that?
Well, if you're referencing a scholarship that would be at the district cost, it would negate increasing the tuition.
Well, I'm in some other avenue
where
we could, get some money together for some people that couldn't afford it.
I know the leaders of the programs would be happy to pull together with a group of stakeholders to see if there are ways that we could redesign or think differently about how we approach the structure of these programs so that they can be cost neutral to the district, but be providing that service.
I just think giving as many kids as possible a good start impacts their whole educational experience.
I agree. I think it's starting them here as young as possible to get them acclimated to actually being in Francis Howell versus somewhere else is, I think, is invaluable. You mentioned, Carol, that the grants that were available that the staff was applying for, are they just not applying for them anymore? Are they just no longer available? Or because Dr. Rhoda said that, well, we can't subsidize, we're also not turning a profit, so how does...
And that was applicable to the vacation station program, and a lot of that grant money was part of the COVID funding that we received.
Rather, there's no other grants available that they can apply for? Or?
I have faith in this team because they seem to be quite resourceful, that if there is anything out there, they will find it.
I would
and apply
think
for
that
it.
they would explore
Yes.
everything
We
possible.
did recently ask for your approval for application for some grant funds this year, and they are always watchful of other opportunities.
As Director Pushkar said, I mean, we've received lots of communication about this, and you know, it affects us as well. You know, it's tough when you're seeing that, you know, everything in this world is going up. I mean, my car insurance went up that much. It hurts, right? So, you know, if there's anything at all that we can do to help this, you know, finding these grants, if there's anything out there to be able to subsidize this, the families are obviously, you know, upset about the fact that this is happening, and while, you know, there's hopefully, you know, we can make this as painless as possible, although, you know, as we can tell, it is hurting, and it will hurt these families. So anything that you can do or recommend, I know that you know a lot of people and you know a lot of things, so if Dr. Rumpus or any of the staff can figure out some way to help these folks and make this as affordable as possible, that would be imperative for me. But also, from what I was told and from what I have learned and from what I've experienced on my own, while these programs have in the past been far less expensive than any private daycare, private preschool, et cetera, now it's encroaching on those same, you know, around the same price. So, you know, while you have to have have to consider both of those, to me, it's more important to have those kids start here at a younger age to get acclimated here, while making it, I guess, price conscious to those people, you know, like competitive, I think is a little bit better, because if one's the same, all they're going to do is pick the daycare that's closer to their house or the preschool that's closer to their house versus putting them in the school or even if it's cheaper, exactly. So I implore you all to just really dig in and try to figure out how we can help these families that are going to be affected by this, my family included. So please do whatever you can and research this and try to figure something out.
We will do that. Conversations will continue.
And not to pile on here, but just to say, you know, I wonder if it's kind of a mind shift of, well, we don't want to subsidize, but maybe we have to. So your challenge, Ms. Embry, at this point in time is to go find $1.5 million.
As she always
You've increased that on me now.
No, but in all seriousness, maybe what we need to do is have an extended conversation at some time in the future about maybe what we talked about before, maybe a scholarship or partially funding or something. Are these prices published already?
Yes. Well, they've been published here. They will be published as enrollments begin very soon. I'll mention that the team is implementing a new software that better, more efficiently handles the receipt of funds, and that may delay our normal registration just a bit, but it will be very soon that they'll communicate that out.
We could talk further, maybe you and I can start, include Director Ponder, and look for some ways to maybe get this done in a way where we don't lose a lot, but I don't think anybody would mind you taking the prices down, so maybe we still have time for that, but thanks for listening, Carol.
Thank you. If I could just add one more piece to that. Whoever's following along, whether it's online or here, page 2 really does have a nice table for us to follow along. And this was helpful for me to know this is not a desire to raise prices in order for us to earn more money off of families that have preschoolers. This was about offsetting, but it is a pretty big windfall. So the 2024-2025 projection is to be $539,872 in the red, just for preschool, and the price increases are to break even. And I just want to make sure that that is available, and hopefully whenever they communicate the price changes to the parents, that they are able to communicate this in some way. Because if you feel like somebody's raising the price because they're trying to make money off of you, it feels one way. But if you communicate it that the price is being raised in order to break even, I think that has a different feel. So I would imagine they're already thinking about that, but I would just make sure I suggest that that happens as well. Thank you.
Just real quick, is there a residency requirement to attend our early childhood programs?
I can't speak to that. Is there a friend, doctor, are you talking about
friend.
preschool?
Yeah, specifically preschool.
Yes, Dr. Vanderpool, are you able to?
There's not.
Oh, there's not.
So you have to be, just the timing of this kind of program because enrollment starts in 2 weeks, so I don't think a lot of parents know about this. So enrollment, I believe for families that are already enrolled, any kind of programming is starting, and then after that, there's another separate time period online when families who have not, are living in districts, who are not enrolled. And then there's another later date in March where families who maybe are living nearby in the area, but not in Francis Howell, then they're the last open window. So residents get first enrollment opportunity, but it is opened up to, because it is a tuition-based program to outside residents after those families get the earlier enrollment dates.
Perfect, thank you.
So for those following online, answer from a knowledgeable source in the audience, there is three windows of enrollment, one for families with enrolled students in the district, families that live in the district, and then families that live in other areas outside of the district at different time periods. So
Maybe.
different priorities.
Right, maybe an in-district and out-of-district charge might be different.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Or I'd like a motion to approve the purchases as presented. Dr. Blair, Dr. Pushkar. Questions, board? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it. Or like a motion to approve the sample format and proposed content for bylaws for future Tier 1 committees directed by the Board of Education.
Second.
Pushkar, Cook. Questions, discussion, board? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Or like a motion to approve the report as presented. Ponder. Ms. Embry.
Okay. That went so fast. I wasn't ready for that.
You were ready this morning for this?
No, in this moment. Okay, well, we'll continue the journey together. This won't take long. I have our typical operating trajectory information for you, as well as the fund balance report. For our budget amendment and transfers, we are once again recommending none. And so we have no change on our anticipated fund balance at June 30. It remains as it was previously at 29.78%. And that is the operating trajectory. Again, we know that we have time and we need to continue to identify ways to flatten that curve downward. But we do have time, and we know that things will continue to change. This report I want to highlight is, as you know, you just approved a number of items, and we celebrate that we had great news as those items were being brought forward for you this evening. I appreciate, Director Blair, you referenced a difference between the budget to actual on one. On another, we were high on the budget this evening, but the overall net impact is a benefit to the bottom line of $1.971 million for everything that you approved relative to the last bid estimates that we had for you. So that's exciting. This is hard to read, but the full financial report is posted each month, as you know. And I would also highlight for you that we celebrate adding back in Sager Middle School to the list of the HVAC projects because of how those bids are coming in. So that's back on the list from the original March 14th recommendation that you approved. And that really takes this with the savings of the 1.971 for these budgeted items this evening. We update it after the fact. So you approve it at one meeting, then the next meeting the bond financial gets updated. So that $1,000,004 will become closer to $3.4 million with that increase. This is our self-insurance fund financial information, and again, we're still taking a look at how we might better represent that information for you. This is an excerpt from the full report that's posted, highlighting again that our beginning fund balance was 80.6% less than the same period of time a year ago. Our revenues, absent the $4 million transfer, are technically up by 4.75%. And our expenditures, though, are up by 5.92%. So we're continuing to monitor that. We did recently receive some information from our broker regarding the performance through September 30. We're anxious to get that information also through December 31 to see what type of change impact that makes to our accounts. And for your information, I'll go ahead and move forward to this one. So our work in progress is the development of the safety and security budget estimates for those recommendations that you received from the Center for Educational Safety. And just to provide a menu, if you will, as we're looking at developing out the budget, this evening you approved the Director of Safety position, and so we'll get that posted quickly and then potentially work with that person to further explore what that might look like. That recommendation for our debt defeasance will likely come in March. We'll get the updated assessed valuation data, and they'll use that then to determine what's the best approach moving forward. We've already launched providing communications with our building principals and building the FY26 budget. So Ms. Walsh and I will start meeting with leaders, other leaders, directors to further explore their budgets. We've completed a procedural review with our external consultant, and we have a number of updates that will be made as we move forward. And part of that is addressing some of the state audit recommendations. The demographic assessment is underway, scheduled for February. We actually launched the RFP for benefits broker, so our intention will be to bring you a recommendation for that during the February meeting. Facility master plan update recommendation will be provided then, as well as the legal services agreement extension for all of our providers to set that out through the end of next year. And then Mr. Gowan will provide the technology assessment, and we're hopeful to have some preliminary budget information impact within that. And it will be time for Mr. Stusser to provide another quarterly construction report on overall progress with the pictorial view of everything. That concludes the finance and operations report. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions, board?
Yeah. Our student representative, Aniston, had a question.
Yes.
Or statement.
Personally, I think Hollenbeck Middle School should also be on the HVAC list because a lot of the times workers are coming in to fix them and then they just also break the next day.
That is great advice, and we will take that under advisement as we continue to build out our long-range planning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, board? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. We also have some first reading for curriculum. I don't know, Dr. Buckman, if you have any commentary, if board has any questions, but there's some first reading for curriculum on there for anybody in the public to take a look at.
And this is Project Lead the Way curriculum, which is different than other curriculum.
Correct. Project Lead the Way curriculum. Right.
Which cannot be altered. Is that accurate? Not in order to keep their
third party designation.
Correct. These are purchased curriculum, so it just in our effort to make sure everything has formally been board approved, we're bringing them to you for board approval. They're not new courses, they're courses we've been teaching. It's just a formality to make sure that they have
updated
board
versions
approval.
Which appears in other schools and other school districts as well.
Is it accurate that the College Board and PLTW have teamed up on a few of these to get actual, see some of them are AP, PLTW?
I believe so. I'm going to ask Dr. Lamers to address that. Here he comes. We will be bringing AP curriculum to you for approval too. This first band is just the PLTW.
Yeah, about those the AP PLTW courses, it's not that they collaborated on building them. It was after PLTW built them. The College Board reviewed them and said, hey, kids who take this class would be very well prepared to be able to take and pass the AP Computer Science exams. So they recommend that school districts that offer them title them. They're go ahead and throw on the AP title. We can sanction that. And the thought was that if you title it that more students might take the courses.
All right, thank you very much. Or like a motion to approve the policies and regulations as presented. Second. Commissioner Director Blair. Questions, comments, discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it. Brings us to superintendent comments. Dr. Rappas.
Thank you, President Bertrand. The week after our last meeting, actually 6 days later, on December 18th, the Missouri State Auditor's Office released the state audit that they had announced back in April of 23. Nearly 2 years ago now, Director Cook had called for that audit. We also welcomed it, saying that having a second set of eyes will be an opportunity for us to identify areas for improvement and rebuild the trust in our processes. We believe the audit affirmed much of what we shared in our Prop S review. It also highlighted opportunities for improvement, not only in the construction bond areas, but in all operations of the district, as we expected that it would. We've already implemented many procedures related to the audit. We remain committed to ongoing improvements to really reflect the transparency and the fiscal responsibility, not only in those areas around Prop S, but in all the operations of the district. I would like to take a moment to thank our finance team and all of our staff that worked closely with the auditor's office. It was a significant amount of time working with them. The auditor's office was actually very thorough in their work and respectful of everyone in the district, and made the process as smooth as possible. In the published audit, you can see our response as a district to all of the recommendations that really outlines what we have already done or what we intend to do to address their recommendations. Our intention will be to bring an update to the board in either April or May to speak to each of those areas, to share with you where we're at in that progress, to keep you and the community apprised of what we're doing to remedy any of the areas that they identified. I know during comments earlier, a lot of people did it, but I also want to take a moment to thank all of our community members, our parents and guardians, our students, our teachers, and our staff. Really, there was a lot of grace and understanding for the most part as we worked to get through this recent snowstorm together. We know that we had parents who were trying to juggle helping their students with AMI packets while they were either working from home or they themselves trying to figure out how to get out of their driveways and get themselves safely to work. Our teachers are at home trying to be responsive to our students through technology on the phone while balancing the needs of their own households during a time that was challenging for everyone. And I appreciate everyone coming together and really being supportive. I'd also like to ask board that you and those here join me in thanking our maintenance, custodial, grounds, and transportation crews specifically. If we could give all of them a round of applause. You know, they are asked to show up in that weather and to be here preparing our buildings, our buses, our parking lots, so that when we were ready to safely return our students and our staff to school, we could. As we shared earlier, we were ready to bring students and staff back to our buildings midweek, and the reality was that the road conditions throughout the district prevented that, and then the additional weather on Friday. So as of right now, if we have no additional snow days, our last day of school will be Friday, May 30th. But I want to remind everyone that if we have more inclement weather days, those will be tacked on after that date. We do have the potential to utilize one more AMI day. We had only planned for 4, and so we are working for some plans on what that would look like. So we're all hopeful that the weather is past us, but the reality is it's just the middle of January. So we want to be prepared for any situation. Last, I just want to share that while we're only beginning second semester right now, kindergarten enrollment and course selection for our secondary students is actually open for the 25-26 school year. So new students will be attending kindergarten, and all of our secondary school parents of students should have gotten information on course selection for next year. Thank you.
We have board comments.
I have something I'd like to say. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm very grateful to Carol Embry for the safety and security study. This is close to my heart as a former teacher, and I worry about our students and our schools a lot. I read this from the Wisconsin State Journal, and it's called Break Nation's Curse of Gunfire in Our Schools. I think we really need to listen to this because I think we can change. I think we can go a different direction. Other countries don't suffer the endless carnage of school shootings that curses America. CNN counted 288 school shootings over a decade in the United States, compared with 2 each in Canada and France, 1 in Germany, none in Japan, Italy, or the United Kingdom. All of them similarly industrialized democratic nations. The gunfire that killed 3 and injured others Monday at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin, was the 38th school shooting in 2024. No more excuses, thoughts, and prayers may help comfort the grieving, but they won't stem this horror that goes on and on and on. From Columbine, Colorado, more than a quarter century ago, through hundreds of American communities to Madison today, and then more after that. It's sickening and outrageous. And all of us bear some responsibility for allowing this to continue. We continue to elect leaders who don't act to stem the violence, and Madison is just the latest city to hear the sirens, to watch the faces of terrified students and staff, to suffer the trauma that may never leave those who were directly involved. Madison is just the latest to face the worst sorrow of having to bury a child, gunned down on school grounds, the place our kids are supposed to feel safe and grow and learn. But we must channel our anger over this epidemic to help make it finally end. We must demand more from those whom we call our leaders. What they're doing now isn't working. The blood in America's classrooms, hallways, and playgrounds is hard, awful, compelling proof. Doing nothing will only lead to the same result, another school shooting somewhere else. Or maybe it will circle back again. We can't let the inaction of our leaders leave us numb and hopeless. Call them, write them, stop them at public events, prioritize your vote. Tell them our schools must be more secure. Our young people need more attention. Our teachers need more support. All those guns in America's homes and streets need more sensible rules to keep them away from kids and learning. Laws are not enough, but they do a lot, and we all can do more. If you own guns, lock them. If you know a young person who seems troubled, lend an ear and offer some guidance. This has to end. Madison may never be the same after Monday's shootings at Abundant Life, but we must be better. If the rest of the world can prevent such a scourge, so can we.
Any board comments?
Yeah, I just want to add a couple. One, I've been a robotics coach for 3 years, and next Thursday is my last Thursday doing this because our season's over. We did not go to state, but we won the Core Values Award, which was really cool to see some of the same students I've had since 6th grade through 8th grade learn how to develop leadership and teamwork and how to work together. Lego Robotics is just a great part of our district where they're able to learn the hard skills of coding, the soft skills of how to handle conflict and work together. And just very, very happy with my team, Kraken Crew was the name of them. And we have a team called Super Splash Brothers, who are all a female team, which is kind of weird, they're called brothers. But they're competing in state this about a week or 2 weeks from now. So I want to share that. I wanted to also share, as Superintendent Rumpus mentioned, just glad that the audit came. We found facts. They overlapped with a lot of the internal audit information, but facts are our friends. And so, whatever facts we find is usually a good thing. And so facts are our friends. I'm glad that happened. Want to pass on that if you want to be supportive to the school district as a whole, there are a lot of schools that had trivia nights available. Cosley's doing another first responder meal that was awesome last year. So find a way to support a local school by showing up, letting them know that you care. The last thing is just to name, the next Monday is Martin Luther King Day. And one of the things that I've done for the last 10 or so years is I spent some time with his letter from a Birmingham jail. He wrote it to a collection of white pastors, so I felt like it was something especially for me to listen to and read. And I just want to say that there's so many things that he shares that I need to hear more. I need to listen closer. My heart's not where it needs to be, but hopefully on Martin Luther King Day, I'll allow his spirit to change me a little bit more, and maybe it could change others a little bit more as well. So
Thank you. Other board comments?
Yes. First, tonight I'd like to address an email that I received from Jamie Martin. A couple things that are really disturbing. That I was accused of attributing Loudoun County, Virginia sexual assault to a transgender person, which I never did. She also made a comment about my web page and my official Facebook page. I have to say, Jamie, I hope that if you're listening that you will actually work with me here, because I do know of another board member whose website was hacked and a bunch of stuff was put on there that isn't true, and I am going to say that that is what happened to me. I have not touched my web page since I was elected. I've never put anything on my Facebook page attributing Loudoun County to a transgender identity. So Jamie, please send me the proof and work with me here, because I can assure you that somehow my webpage or my Facebook page or both have been hacked. I'd like to move on and state that if the state audit proved anything, it was that oversight is sorely needed. Numerous deficiencies were cited. I propose that the progress on each of these items be a permanent agenda item until the deficiency is corrected. I propose that this starts next month. I believe this oversight will enhance not only the knowledge of the board and the public who are wanting to know, but also improve the processes that are put into place. People respect what you inspect, and for too many years, I believe previous boards rubber stamped without asking any questions. So I'm hoping that we can get a monthly update as to those deficiencies. Second, I had the privilege of touring behavior helpers this week at one of our contracted agencies for the care of EDR, our autistic children needing special assistance that the district does not feel able or capable to provide. After agreeing to an invite, what I found was a very competent organization, highly skilled, and a very positive learning environment for these children under our care. It wasn't only that, but I also got to view the progress that has been made in the development of these students. They have 5 certified teachers on board for a clientele of 24 students. They also have OT services and basically all the other services that a child would need. Not only do they have inside classrooms, but they also sit on 5.5 peaceful acres on which the children can roam when the weather is nice. I am saddened that other board members couldn't accompany me to see the great job that they do. My hope is that my schedule allows me to visit other contracted agencies to get a more accurate picture of the capabilities and differences. I encourage anyone in alternative learning to do the same. In fact, I think it should be a mandatory practice to ensure that our children are getting the best care possible. Policy 2116 has been inactive since its first reading 15 months ago. I am cognizant of the fact that there actually is a bathroom policy, and it is written on the entrance of each bathroom. It's called boys and girls. Unfortunately, this policy is not being enforced by school administrators. This puts this district in greater legal jeopardy than if we had passed a policy at the board level. As stated before in board comments, my motivation is to protect all students from harm, and in my estimation, to continue to turn our backs on this issue is a dereliction of duty. I have been told that this is not the right place to make a motion. However, according to parliamentary procedure, it certainly is. Also, according to parliamentary procedure, one member of the board should not be allowed to continually deny a valid motion, as this agenda belongs to the board, not to one person. As also stated before, I will continue to make this motion. I call on my fellow board members to second my upcoming motion and to protect this district from harmful litigation that will occur after someone is hurt. That being said, I make the motion that policy 2116 be added next month as a second read to the agenda in February.
Any other board comments? That being said, I would like a motion to adjourn the meeting and return to close. Adjourn open session and return to close. Let me be clear. Oh, I do have one more comment to make just for the public's awareness. We are going through the process of a new superintendent search. All that information can be found online, and I believe it should pop up immediately when you visit the website with the timeline and all the information surrounding that. So if you're interested in what that process looks like, it's right there for you. All right, motion to adjourn open session and return to close. Blair, Director Ponder. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it. Thank you everybody for attending.
I know. I went around.